She walked into the towering glass building with pride. The same one where she'd poured years of late nights, bold ideas, and relentless dedication. But before she could even reach her desk, security stopped her. One glance at her badge, one glance at her skin, and suddenly everything she'd earned, every ounce of respect, disappeared. Whispers rippled through the lobby, eyes darted away, heads shook. It was as if she'd become a stranger in the very place she helped build. That morning wasn't just another workday. It was the day her identity became a threat. Maya Thompson had always carried herself with quiet power, the kind of woman who didn't need to demand attention because her presence spoke for itself. At 28, she was already a star in her marketing firm, the woman behind million-dollar campaigns and award-winning ideas. Her leadership inspired teams. Her vision changed brands. She was everything the company claimed to celebrate. And yet, to some, she was still just a black girl who got lucky. The company loved to talk about inclusion. Their brochures were glossy, their diversity posts picture-perfect. But behind the slogans lived something rotten, a culture that smiled at progress while quietly resisting it. Maya had seen it, the polite stares when she spoke up in meetings, her ideas repeated by others and suddenly praised, the backhanded comments about her hair, her tone, her confidence. Still, she kept pushing forward. She believed effort could change minds, that excellence could silence bias. That morning, she walked in wearing her favorite blue blazer, coffee in one hand, determination in the other. She had no idea that within minutes, her career, her dignity, and her sense of belonging would be ripped apart. It started with confusion, a new receptionist flipping through the employee list like searching for a ghost. "Sorry, I don't see your name," she said curtly. Maya smiled, calm. Probably a system glitch. She'd been here 5 years. She scanned her badge, red light, access denied. 2 security guards approached, stiff and expressionless. "Ma'am, you're not authorized to enter." Their tone wasn't questioning. It was final. Maya's heart thudded. Around her, co-workers walked by, pretending not to see. She explained who she was, her role, her department. But they didn't check. They didn't care. To them, she was a black woman in a suit, and that was enough to raise suspicion. When her manager finally arrived, his face showed concern, but his eyes didn't. "There's been a mix-up," he said, almost rehearsed. But Maya could see through it. She'd already noticed the subtle signs, the meetings she wasn't invited to, the emails that stopped including her, the project she led that suddenly had a new direction. Hours passed as she sat in the lobby, waiting for HR to sort things out. Her colleagues passed. Some offered awkward smiles, others looked away entirely. That silence, that avoidance, hurt more than the rejection itself. Finally, HR arrived with an envelope. Her position had been restructured, effective immediately. No warning, no explanation. Inside that envelope was the erasure of everything she'd worked for. And upstairs in her office, her replacement, a younger white woman she had trained, was already sitting in her chair. The world seemed to tilt. Maya's throat tightened as she looked up at the company's logo glowing on the wall, once a symbol of pride, now a cruel reminder of betrayal. All those speeches about equality, all those photos celebrating diversity. They weren't meant for people like her. She walked out of that building, her reflection flickering on the glass doors, the same doors that once welcomed her dreams. But now each step outside felt heavier. It wasn't just a job she lost. It was proof that no amount of excellence could protect her from prejudice dressed up as procedure. She wanted to fight back, to shout her truth. But she knew how stories like hers were twisted. She's overreacting. She played the race card. Maybe it was just business. She'd heard those words bury women like her before, so Maya did something different. She gathered proof. Every email, every message, every subtle dismissal. And when the time was right, she spoke up, to journalists, to advocates, to anyone who would listen. Her story spread like wildfire. People were outraged. Former employees came forward with similar stories. The company's shiny mask began to crack, but as her truth went viral, so did the backlash. Anonymous messages told her to move on. Friends at work distanced themselves. Still, Maya refused to disappear. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about every black professional told they didn't fit the culture. Months later, Maya returned to that same building, not as an employee, but as a speaker. A crowd of young women, interns, and students gathered to hear her. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. "They tried to erase me from my own workplace," she said. "But I'm still here, louder, stronger, and unafraid." Her lawsuit exposed a pattern of systemic bias. Executives were forced out. Policies changed. The company released public apologies and promised reform. But Maya knew real change isn't about words. It's about who gets to stay, to lead, to belong. She founded a support network for women of color in corporate spaces, a place to share stories, protect each other, and reclaim power. Her journey became a mirror, showing that racism doesn't always shout in the streets. Sometimes it sits in corner offices and smiles politely. As she ended her speech, Maya looked at the crowd, eyes shining, fists clenched, hearts wide open, and said, "Never let anyone make you feel like you don't belong in a space you've earned. Belonging isn't a gift they can give. It's a truth they can never take away."